Welcome. These are going to be the notes for 1C, doing a quick slope review. You did this same exact thing in Algebra 1, so I just want to quickly review it so that we can move on to how it relates to parallel and perpendicular. So when we classify slope, okay, we have 4 different types. If it rises to the right, that is going to be a positive slope. I think you remember Mr. Slope Man? Puff, puff, positive. Negative slope is when it falls to the right. So the lines that you see that rise to the right, you should look for a positive slope. Fall to the right is a negative slope. If it is a horizontal line, that is zero slope. Okay, 0 is different than none. Okay, so that would be slope. M would equal 0. If I have a vertical line, that is what we call undefined. Okay, and these two are just always going to be that. So horizontal is going to be 0, vertical will be undefined. You have 2 ways to find slope. If I'm given a graph, as these 4 examples are, I'm going to use the idea that slope, which is represented by M, is rise over run. Okay, so you can see rise is up and down first, run is left and right. Okay, you have to rise before you can run. So when I'm looking at my paper, let me zero in on this a little bit. They've already marked 2 points on that line, A and B. So I'm going to count, it doesn't matter which point you start with, but you always have to start counting up and down, or down. So I'm going to start at A, and I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and up is positive, so positive, going down is negative. Then I'm just going to keep that in mind because that's my rise, and then I'm going to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. To the right is positive. If I had to count this way, it'd be negative. The slope of this line would be positive 4 over positive 5. Now, if you would decide to count from point B, again, you have to go up and down first. So I would count 1, 2, 3, 4, and I went down, so that's negative 4. And now I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 to the left is negative 5. A negative and a negative cancel each other out. Hence, we have positive 4/5. So you get the same answer simplified either way. From P to Q. Okay, I'm going to start at P. I always start on the left one, just habit. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so I went down, negative 3. Coming across now, you notice I just went down to where I can come across now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. To the right is positive 6. So if I wanted to simplify that fraction, it's going to be negative because there's only one of them. 3 goes into there once, 3 goes into there twice, so that slope would be negative 1/2. Number 3, if it is a vertical line, it doesn't matter where it crosses that y-axis. If it's a vertical line, the slope will always be undefined. If it's at a horizontal line, the slope will always be 0. We can also find slope when we're given 2 ordered pairs. When I'm given 2 ordered pairs, I need to use the slope formula, which is y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. It doesn't matter which one is x1, y1, and which one is x2, y2. Doesn't matter. Okay, so to find the slope, some of you will need to identify which one is which, if that helps you. The main concern that error that a lot of students make is they forget to do the y's on top. So maybe you want to mark your y's. Don't mark the other ones, just mark your y's, and those are where you're going to start. So the y's are 5 and -1, and I'm just going to go that direction, 5 minus -1. Here's my y coordinate, here's my y coordinate, y minus y. Then I'm going to use the other values in the x spots. Started with 5, so I'm going to start with -2 minus 6. Sometimes people will do this. It helps them kind of keep track of which ones go together. All right, just got to be careful with your positive and negative signs. So 5 minus -1 is 6. -2 minus 6 is -8. Simplified is 3/4 negative. Now, that negative, if there's just one of them, can be with the 4, or it can be with the 3. Okay, so you know as we count out slope when we start to graph lines, that negative can be in the top or the bottom. Both will work. All right, let's go to the next one. Go a little faster now so we can get going. So the y's, I'm going to connect those. -3 minus 7. The x's, -11 minus -6. Okay, don't forget a minus, and then the actual number is a -6. So my top's going to be -10. My bottom's -5. Negative over negative becomes a positive, 2 over 1. Okay, some people would just say the slope is 2, but I kind of like 2 over 1 because it reminds me I have a rise and a run. All right, so why don't you stop the video now and do number 7 and 8, and then we'll come back with the answers. All right, now here are the answers, what happens. And maybe you found this as you were working through. So the y's, I'm going to start with those two, is -4 minus 2. The x's, which go on the bottom here, 9 minus 9. So this is what I end up with. 9 minus 9 is 0. The first commandment of mathematics is thou shalt not divide by 0. This means -6 divided by 0. You cannot do that. That is undefined. Okay, if 0 is on the bottom, we call it undefined. When you did number 8, and again, I'm going to go, here's my y's. So -3 minus -3, and -7 minus 0. -3 minus -3 is 0. And down here we have -7. 0 divided by anything, whether it's positive or negative, is always going to be 0. So that slope of line RS is 0. So we gave you two different kinds. If you're given a graph, then you're going to count out the rise and run. If you're given 2 ordered pairs, then you're going to use the slope formula to help you find the value of the slope.